What is up? What is up, everybody? Let me move this mic. Happy Friday, man. I hope y'all are having a beautiful morning. Hope everything is going abundantly and prosperously for you, and I trust that it is. Let me make sure I'm live on everything and we can get started. All right, today we're going to be talking about faith over feelings. As always, the document is on YouTube. The document is on Instagram. If y'all have questions, leave them in the comments and I will get to them. We'll also have a little Q&A after. I don't know how long I'm going to stay on here because I got a flight to catch, y'all. I'm catching flights and feelings. Well, not really feelings. I'm catching flights. But today we're going to talk about faith over feelings. We're going to talk about the importance of faith to get the things that you desire in your life. All right, so let's jump right into it. So, in a world that glorifies instant gratification and emotional validation, it is easy to let feelings dictate our decisions. However, true strength lies in anchoring ourselves in faith rather than fleeting emotions. This lecture will explore the dangers of emotion-led decisions, the power of faith in adversity, and practical steps to cultivate a faith-driven life. One of the interesting things that I always encounter when I have discussions about faith is that many people believe that faith is the complete lack of emotions. Because I'm faithful, because I have faith in the prosperity that the Most High has put in my mind, because I've given this task to the Most High, to the universe, whatever you believe in, right? I believe that I should have no emotions. Whatever shows up in front of me, I should be cool, calm, and collected. No. Life still is going to come through and it's going to slap you around sometimes. Sometimes life's going to be unpredictable. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough, right? But your faith is going to be the constant that you have. It does not override your emotions per se, okay? Your faith makes your emotions irrelevant, but your emotions are still going to be there. So if you're going through difficult situations, you might get sad. You might have feelings that arise within you. But it's also important that we really talk about feelings in this way, okay? One of the things that has really helped me is disassociating myself from the feelings. I remember back whenever I would experience a sad feeling, I would immediately say, I am sad. And I would identify with that, right? When really sadness is just a feeling that I experience. It's just something that's passing through because of whatever situation is in front of me. I might have gotten bad news about a family member, found out something about, a woman that I'm dealing with, found out something about work. That feeling just shows up there and it passes through me in that moment. There's also times where you could be driving, nothing's going wrong, but you can feel sadness. You can feel anxiety for no real reason. It's just this emotion that pops up in your body. But that's not you. You don't have to identify with that, right? You are the sky. Your feelings, your emotions are the weather. They pass. Sometimes it's storming. Sometimes it's sunny. Sometimes it's cloudy. Sometimes there's a fucking hurricane, right? But that does not define you. You are the consciousness behind all of this. And you can attach that consciousness with your inner knowing of faith. Doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter how I feel. I can still have faith. This does not mean that you'll always be calm. It does not mean that you'll always be happy. Sometimes you're going to wake up pissed off. Sometimes you are going to be frustrated. Sometimes you're going to have to catch yourself. But this is what faith is. Faith is a muscle, just like discipline, just like working out, right? It requires you to come against yourself over and over and over and over again, right? Irrespective of how you feel, irrespective of what's going on, it requires you to come on. It requires you to come against yourself over and over. And all that shit almost went the wrong way. It requires you to go against yourself over and over and over again. Okay? And as you do this, you build that muscle of faith. You strengthen that muscle of faith. All right? So let's go. So the battle between faith and feelings. Hey, feelings are temporary, but faith is eternal. So the Bible verse, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Who can know it? The heart is deceitful. If I just walked around following my feelings 24/7, 365, I want to do what makes me happy. I just want to follow the happy feelings. If I feel sad, I should move away. If I don't feel good, I should not do that thing. You will find yourself in a miserable life because your heart is deceitful. What this really means, your feelings are deceitful, right? Who can know them? Your feelings don't identify you. Even if I believe that I'm a happy person, doesn't mean I'll never be without some kind of sadness. Even if I believe that, even an angry person, if you identify somebody as an angry person, doesn't mean they'll always be angry, right? So if you just move based on your feelings, even if you logically understand that you could literally walk outside, get in your car, and because it is raining, you could feel a little bit more depressed, you could feel a little bit more down, why would you trust your feelings? Your feelings are not leading you towards anything, okay? Your feelings are fleeting, they can pass, right? It is your faith in where you're going that has your strength. It is your perception that is your power, okay? It is your perception that is in your power. Now, let's I'm a brother of balance, right? We like to talk about things from multiple different dimensions. So let's break down feelings a little bit more before we get too down the faith path. When you come down here as a soul, most of you is still in this spiritual world. Most of you is still in union with the Most High, with God, right? So your soul comes down and it jumps into your pineal gland, when you're a fetus, and that's how your mother's water breaks right when your soul hits it, and then you come out. All right, now, most of you is still in that spiritual realm. And so y'all have an agreement. You're not really going to communicate through words, okay? But you will communicate through feelings, okay? Gut feelings. This is different than just the fleeting feelings that happen whenever, right? Because you're out in the club and your boyfriend's at the crib and you meet this dude and he makes you feel good. That's not your higher self talking to you, right? Your higher self is talking to you through feelings when you're doing something that it feels like it is in alignment with your soul. You have a gut intuitive feeling that this is right. You also have a gut intuitive feeling that something is wrong. But if your diet's off, if you're not taking time to fast, right? Then a lot of people, instead of moving off intuition, they're moving off of programming, off of trauma, off of old patterns that aren't even in alignment with the Most High that dwells within them. Okay? So your higher self is going to speak to you through intuition. This is why you have to take care of your temple. This is why you have to practice cleanliness, right? This is why you have to fast. This is why you have to stay in meditation. This is why you have to try to eat right and not get too consumed with the overly processed foods. Because one purpose of fat is to store toxins, to keep them from leaking into your blood, right? When you eat a lot of bad shit and you're not moving, your fat starts to store toxins and keep them from your blood. Now, another factor of fat is because since everything has a spiritual and a physical duality to it, let's say it like that. Everything has a physical and a spiritual nature. Fat also stores old programming and old trauma. So some of the things that were beaten into your mind as a child, right? Some of the trauma that you've experienced in past relationships, okay? It is stored in your body via fat. This is even why, if you truly become conscious of your body, you'll realize that you have feelings before you have thoughts a lot of times. You could literally be driving your car, like the example I gave earlier. You can be just driving and all of a sudden you get a feeling, a gnawing feeling in your side, right? Because your body stores emotions. Your body stores trauma. So you could get a feeling in your side, just this uncomfortable feeling. And all of a sudden your mind starts wondering about all the things that you've went through in your past life because your body is storing trauma. And so one of the ways to start to remove this trauma, because you don't want to be in a good situation and all of a sudden you get this triggering reminder of a past situation that you were in, and now you start to sabotage the situation that you're in now, when really this situation is in alignment with you, but you're moving off trauma and pain. This is why it's important to cleanse the temple. to make sure that you are on top of your diet. Make sure you're focused on your health. Make sure you're drinking water. Make sure that you're meditating. Make sure that you're fasting. Making sure that you are moving your body. Because this body stores information. Okay? Your higher self communicates to you through your body. Right? Even the sun communicates to you through your body, right? Information goes into your eye, goes into your brain stem, transfers throughout your body, or you download that information through your body. This is even why, the more you cleanse yourself, the more prone you are to have downloads, spiritual downloads. Because your body has to be clean enough to actually process the download and give you that information. You're always receiving light codes. You're always receiving codes from the light, right? Your body is a light vessel. You're always receiving these divine codes, these divine downloads. Now, whether you can receive them, whether you can process them, let's say, because you can always receive them. Everybody is spiritual. Well, you can always receive them. Whether you can process them, that's going to be up to you, man. You're taking care of your body. Okay? So, life is multidimensional, right? We can sit and pray and fast all day, or sit and pray and meditate all day, but the other dimension is, are you working on your trauma? Are you identifying trauma? Are you cleaning out your body as well? Everything is multidimensional. Okay, so the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17:9. All right, feelings fluctuate based on circumstances, but faith is grounded in eternal truth. My feelings are not grounded in truth. My feelings are grounded in the moment. My feelings are just giving me feedback on something happening around me in this moment, but it's not necessarily truth, right? Your feelings are valid. Don't get me wrong. You have a right to your feelings. But the moment that you believe that your feelings should dictate how you move, that's when you go down the wrong path. This is when we go down the wrong path with relationships, with friendships, with business, and with our walk in righteousness to get to the desires of our heart. So, if I have a desire, I understand that the Most High puts the desire in my mind for me. Because the Most High wants me to experience this. And now I want to experience it too. Right? Who am I not to want what God wants for me? You know what I'm saying? If God wants it for me, I want it too. Okay. So now I exercise faith and I begin walking through life with this faith. Okay? Let's say that you want to start this business. You have dreams of helping people out through this business. It can provide a better life for your family, for your friends, for you. You can do the things you want. You can have freedom. You can buy back your time. All of these things are beautiful. Now you have faith. Now what happens the moment that you make a decision, right? Is your soul says, oh shit, let's bring in everything that you need to put you down the right path and make you the person that you need to be to sustain this desire. So what does that look like? You might have people break your heart. You might have people pull out of your life to push you down the right path, right? Or they have to energetically cleanse themselves from you. Because the Most High knows, like, they can't be attached to you with your prosperity. You can't be prosperous with her. You can't be prosperous with him. We need to move that shit aside. Okay, so you think it's a heartbreak, really it's just energetically cleansing you. Now somebody tells you no, you've prepped in your mind, I'm gonna get this funding. All these banks keep telling you no. That's not the route for you. The route for you is to grind a little bit more because there's still some skills you have to learn and you actually gonna make the money yourself. You're never gonna have to pay anybody back. Okay, but if we get too caught in our feelings through this path and we do not lean on our faith, right? If I allow my feelings to be the main thing that leads me down, oh, something good happens, I'm happy, I'm motivated to work some more. Something bad happens, oh, I can't. My faith is gone now, right? This is gonna pull you off of the path. So what I'm saying is that your feelings are going to naturally come. You're gonna have situations that break your heart. People are gonna hurt you. People are gonna tell you no. Things that you have planned are going to fall apart. And this is when you have to lean on faith to continue to walk the righteous path towards your desire. All right? Because you have the desire for a reason. The same way that the Most High showed up to Moses as a burning bush. The Most High didn't show up to you as a burning bush. The Most High showed up to you as this desire in your heart to do things for your family, to improve your family. Okay? And now you can take two paths. Exactly. The universe loves you unconditionally. You can take two paths. You can take the path of allowing the universe to assist you, or you can take the path of trying to do this shit by yourself. And you're still going to be loved unconditionally. The moment that you exercise faith, the Most High is going to hug you and say, okay, perfect. I'm glad that you're starting to see that your feelings are just here for you to experience because you're in this human body. So you have to have emotions and feelings. They're tied to your ego, to your identity. So you have to have these emotions and feelings. However, you don't have to always move on them. Right? That's what the foolish man does. That's what the unwise person does, is they move strictly off of feelings, move off of faith, knowing that my feelings will change from moment to moment, from day to day. Right? But I'm going to do what I have to do. So the Most High, the moment that you align your faith to your desire, everything begins to move in your favor. Right? All these things begin to try to push you down the right path, get you to where you want to be. All right? And so all your job is to stay focused on what you want and continue to move with conviction, with faith, and allow your perception, your perspective of the world to be your weapon, right? Your perspective is what's going to cut through the bullshit. It's what's going to paint that beautiful picture on top of whatever you're going through, okay? Because even in difficult times, you still gain clarity at the very least, right? If you go through a heartbreak, you get clarity on what you want, okay? You have somebody tell you no, you have a business fail, you get more clarity on how you want to do things. You get more clarity on how you want your next business to go, okay? The only time we don't receive clarity is when we reduce ourselves to a victim, which none of you are. You all are divine gods, divine goddesses, right? So no one here is a victim. But when we reduce ourselves to a victim and we allow our emotions to completely consume us and paralyze us, that is where the failure is. Okay? You cannot fail unless you stop. This is the impossible thing, right? You're in a part of your life right now. Right now your reality is the way it is because of your beliefs. The moment that you decide to change and get what you want, it can only go two ways. You can get it, or you can go back to your current reality. That's it. If you continue to march towards what you want, you will either get there or you will fall back to this reality. So you can always just choose this pain of being in the same situation and reliving the same life like most people do. Most people do the same thing on the weekends. They do the same thing Monday through Friday. They do the same routine every night. They wake up at the same time, go to the gym. They skip the same days at the gym. They eat the same meals. They manage money the same way. They might have a different job, but it's around the same pay, right? Everything is about the same. So if you want to change, you're going to have to choose the pain of changing. And the only thing that can sustain you through that is your faith. Your faith is what is going to sustain you. Not your feelings, not being motivated, hell, not even really disciplined all the time. Right? Because sometimes you're just going to feel shit out of luck. And it's like there's no discipline. I don't see anything happening that's showing me that my discipline is even worth anything, right? But where is your faith? Where is your trust? Okay? So relying on emotions can lead to confusion, but faith provides clarity. When you want to make a change in your life, you have to make a mental decision that it does not matter what anybody tells me. It does not matter how I feel. It doesn't matter how the outside world looks. I am going to move forward towards this thing indefinitely. I'm just going to move towards it. And I'm going to put all my faith in the Most High. And then you surrender it. And when I say surrender, I don't mean surrender the thing you want. I mean you surrender the process. You create the process, you create the plan, and you surrender it knowing that everything within the plan is going to change. You'll never be able to create the perfect plan, right? So you begin to march on that plan towards the desire. You hold your desire in your mind. You attach that to your faith. You attach that to a larger purpose, helping your family, helping your friends, changing your lifestyle, whatever the case may be. Okay? And then how you get there, the time you get there, the route that it takes, you surrender that. Some of you believe that your prosperity is going to come through this one business, but that one business is going to fail. Quote unquote fail, right? Because every failure is just a soul expanding opportunity. You might meet somebody in the course of that soul expanding opportunity that pushes you on to another idea, and that's where your prosperity is, right? You might meet somebody and all of a sudden y'all go in business together. They might acquire your business. You never know how things play out, but it has to play out in a way that surprises you. It has to play out in a way that makes you give glory to the Most High, because that's the way that the Most High operates. The Most High is jealous. The Most High, not jealous in a human sense, the Most High is jealous in that it wants your praise. The Most High wants your praise. Infinite Consciousness is like, no, I don't want you to be able to react like this. I don't want you to just be able to predict it. I want this life to be beautiful. I want you to know that I have ways that you don't know about. I have weapons you don't understand. My ways are not your ways, right? This is the story of Job. Okay, even when Job lost everything because Satan, the devil, which is just a representation of our mind, right? I want to talk about this. I'm going to talk about the Job story right now from just a metaphorical sense, not from a historical sense, okay? So even when Job had everything, the devil came to the Most High and said, you know what? Anybody can praise you and have faith and be happy when shit is going right. What does that mean? What does that? That doesn't mean that you're a faithful servant. If you can be good when everything's going right, like, and we can apply this same thing to relationships, right? We're in the honeymoon phase. You might think you love me, but we haven't been through shit, okay? And so God said, you know what? Test them, take it all away, and took everything from Job. Job's friends started questioning him, bro, what's going on? Are you sure that you should still be praising the Most High, right? Job's wife started doubting him. Man, what you doing, Job? All right? But he had to hold on to his faith. He even started to have a few doubts, right? And so then God showed up. Then God showed up and started to put Job on game. Don't you know that I have ways that you don't? And the moment that Job understood this and stepped back into faith, right? That is the moment that he was blessed twofold. We even see this with Peter walking across water to the Christ, to Yahshua, to Jesus, right? Whatever you want to call him, right? He was walking on the water, started to sink, okay? The same way that when we stop in our faith, when we're going towards the things that we want, and we stop walking in faith and we start to sink a little bit, the moment that he put his eyes back on the Most High, back on Christ, right? That is the moment that he started to walk on the water again. Okay, this is a metaphor for you are going to have doubts. When you're on your journey, you're going to have doubts. You're going to have feelings that make you doubt things, right? You're going to have feelings that make you say, shit, bro, is this even real? Is this the right path? I don't see the fruits of this. I do not see the fruits of the labor yet. Okay, and so we talked about this in the last lecture when we talked about nature, right? When you are planted in as a seed, when you have a desire, you have to be planted. You have to have that faith of a mustard seed. So the first thing that happens to a seed is it gets planted. It gets planted in the dark, in the dirt, and it's pitch black. You can't see shit, but it's growth, right? You're just marching forward. You're growing. You're meeting people. You're failing at things. These things are expanding your consciousness. Your roots are growing, so that once you actually get up out the dirt, you can fly. So the only thing that you need to water the seed of your desire with is faith. That's it. So we have all these metaphors throughout the Bible that are telling us how to act, telling us how to get the things we want, right? The only thing that you have to do is have faith. Now, How you want to build that faith is up to you. I like affirmations. All right. You could have an affirmation. So if somebody were to ask you how whatever you wanted was going, what sentence, what answer could you provide that would imply that everything is going well for you, that you have everything that you want? What is a statement that you would say that when you say it, when you speak it, when you think it, it implies that, damn, everything that I have or that I want right now is actually made manifest in my reality. Okay? That is the statement that you should hold on to. Now, whether you doubt it or not, that's irrelevant. Doubt is irrelevant. We see this throughout the Bible. Your doubt is irrelevant. Your fear, your feelings, irrelevant, right? It is your faith. Faith cuts through doubt. Faith cuts through doubt. Faith cuts through feelings. For you to believe that you will have a goal, a desire, and you will walk from this moment until you receive it with absolutely no doubt, absolutely no negative feelings, absolutely no fear. Are you a fucking robot? How could you do that? You're a human being, right? But what is going to happen is you're going to have experiences along the way that are going to pull you into an inner knowing that your faith is working. And the Most High will give you opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to say, oh shit, God is with me. This is working, right? This is how the Most High works. The Most High is going to give you breadcrumbs. You don't even just get your full desire at once, right? You get breadcrumbs that lead you to that desire. Okay, this is the beauty of the Most High. This is why the Most High is so cold. Okay, and we can look at it. We can look at other Bible examples for that. The Bible example that I always talk about is the Israelites being led out of Egypt, right? Moses came and showed them all these fucking miracles. He showed all these miracles. My man had a stutter too. He had a stutter, but all of a sudden he could speak clean. He performed all these miracles. When the Israelites got out of Egypt, guess what they still did? They still were doubting. They said it would have been better to go back to slavery. This is how the human mind thinks. This is why people stay in abusive relationships. This is why people stay in jobs that they hate for 20, 30 years, because the pain of changing is often more difficult than the pain of staying the same, right? We would rather choose a familiar hell. And when I talk about comfort, I'm not talking about comfort like we like it there. It's just your brain wants life to be predictable. Your brain wants to be in a situation and know that, okay, I can predict this. If something's bad is going to happen, I can predict it. If something good happens, I can predict it. This is why most people want to live the same life over and over and over again. And even if they're fed up with it, it's very difficult for them to step into the unknown, right? Because when you step into the unknown, there's comfort in the known. Even if it's shitty, even if it's hell, there's comfort in predictability. But the moment that your brain can't predict, it naturally is like, oh shit, we should have stayed backed up, right? But this void that you're in when you can't predict, this is the soul expanding, consciousness expanding area. This is when you get colder, you get better, you get more conscious, more divine, more intelligent, right? I mean, even when we talk about it from relationships, let's look at it from a different aspect, right? You go through the honeymoon phase. Okay, it's cool. Where the connection grows is in the unknown. It is when y'all have disagreements. You have to transmute that disagreement into a deeper connection. It is when you have to transmute the pain of, shit, I have to talk about this. We have to solve this. We have to work on this problem. When you step into that uncomfort, you build deeper connection, deeper communion. But when you run from it, situation falls apart. You just go back to how y'all were before, or you go back to old patterns. But that's how most people do it. That's why it's so cleansing. People are so happy when they hear that, oh, I'm an anxious avoidant, or I'm this, or I'm that. Now I have a justification for my actions. I can stay the same. I don't have to transmute it. I don't have to, transcend. I don't have to transcend this. Okay? Now, if you believe that you can't transcend it, that's on you. That's fine. Your mind is strong enough for that reality to be real for you. Okay? No shame. And if that's the way that you want to live. But I believe that there is nothing that the God within you cannot transcend. There is no limit to the Most High. The Most High did not come down here and make himself manifest within me to be boxed into a specific label that a therapist can give me. Right? You might be able to give me those things, but it's just a starting point for me to transcend them. Okay? So the Most High is gonna, damn, bro, I went way off of the rails per usual. But anyways, the Most High is going to give you opportunities to strengthen your faith by giving you the breadcrumbs of your desire over time. Now, the danger of emotion-led decisions. The example is Esau selling his birthright for a single meal. Selling your entire birthright for a single meal. Okay? So impulsive decisions based on emotions can have long-term consequences. Feels good in the short term. Right? That food feels good when it's going down right now. I'm so hungry. It feels so good right now. Right? It could be a cheat meal, right? I know I'm supposed to be on this diet, but this cheesecake feels so good right now. It tastes so good. You know. But afterwards, it's rarely ever worth it. Rarely ever worth it. Right? Actually, I believe it's never worth it. I just said rarely to give some leeway, but it's never worth it. Okay, so reflection questions. Can you recall a time when making a decision based on emotions led to regret? I'm sure that we all can. Okay, and then what helps you stay grounded in faith when emotions are overwhelming? What is your why? And so when I talk about things like this, one of the biggest desires that people have is money. I talk about relationships too, but money is something that works better for this example. If I'm just looking for money and I want faith that I'm going to have more money, if things go poorly, it would be more difficult for me to hold on to my faith that I want money versus the real reason why I want that money. So if the purpose of money is I want to provide for my family, or I want to do something for my mom, or I want to take care of my, kids in a different way, or I want to introduce my woman to a different lifestyle, that purpose is a lot stronger. It can hold your faith in a much more solid way than just money can. Okay, so you want to make whatever that purpose is. You have that desire in your mind. The purpose, the reason why you want to achieve that desire. Okay? You want that to be so strong that it does not matter what bullshit is going on around you. You can stay that path. Okay? So number 2, the illusion of emotional certainty, how emotions can deceive us. We are more often frightened than hurt. And we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca. Okay? Most people are delusionally negative. You start telling people to think positively, they'll call you delusional. So why don't you think about the best thing that could happen in this situation? Well, how would, if this worked out perfectly, what would that look like? Say, oh no, you're delusional. Well, most people walk around being delusionally negative. They think about the worst case scenario for everything. And then they say, well, that's how it has to be. But the worst case scenario rarely, if ever, happens. Rarely, if ever, happens. Like when does the absolute worst case scenario that you're thinking about truly happen? All right. So basically, you just work yourself up for nothing. So even if I say, just try to be more positive, at the very least, you'll feel better. And what is actually going to happen is you're going to improve your life. Okay. So feelings often magnify problems, making challenges seem bigger than they are. Okay, and then fear, doubt, and anxiety are emotions that can cripple faith if unchecked. Okay, so we want to constantly be reminding ourselves, constantly reinforcing in our mind why we have the desires for the Most High. Constantly have faith. If there's a sentence that I can say in my mind that by stating that affirmation, I assume that I have what I want. right? I can lean on that. If I have this larger purpose for what I want, I lean on that. Okay. I also lean on the psychology of change. I know that when I am changing, okay, as I am changing, my brain is going to crave comfort. It's going to crave predictability. It's going to want to go back to the past. So I have to fight through that. And as I fight through that, the Most High is going to give me more and more opportunities to strengthen my faith. He's going to give me more and more breadcrumbs that are aligned with the things that I want. It's going to make this a fun and enjoyable ride. But I have to keep my perspective, right? I also have to understand that everything is for me. That what is disguised and looks like heartbreak to my flesh is just realignment. It's redirection. What looks like somebody telling me no, it's just redirection. Okay? So all of these things, I can lean back on all of these factors. We even talk about in the past lecture of how to change your reality in chaos. We talked about the different entities, the spiritual entities that are formed based on your energy. So if I've walked through life being greedy, living in lack, I have entities that are attached to that. And these entities are feeding off of that energy. You can call them demons, call them whatever you want, right? They're just linked to your emotions. So even when we talk about demons, we're just talking about entities that feed off of your emotions, really are created by your emotions as well, all right? But these entities get attached to your feelings of lust, greed, all right, lack, being broke. And the more that you feed them, the bigger that they get. So the moment you try to change, they die off. But before they die off, they go through withdrawals, where they actually put urges in you to go back to your old life. So that's another reason why change is difficult, is that when you're trying to change, you've got things fighting against that. But the beauty in this is that means that they're dying. And that means now I'm actually feeding different entities. Okay? I'm feeding entities of prosperity, entities of sexual discipline. Okay? I'm fixing my dopamine. All these things are being changed. So the more that we understand what's actually going on from a spiritual perspective, from a psychological perspective, the more balanced we are in our understanding of the psychology, the spiritual aspects, the physical nature of change. Okay? The better prepared we are to walk through the fire of change. Because that's what it is, right? You are walking through the fire just like the phoenix. The phoenix is this bird. It makes its nest. It puts it on fire, and then it runs into the nest and kills itself. So it can be reborn into this fiery, beautiful, divine thing, right? This is what you're doing every time that you're trying to change. Is that you're killing that old version of you, okay? I mean, even when we think of change in the metaphorical sense of killing yourself, like the phoenix, if you are in a relationship right now, or you've been in a relationship and you started to vision your life with that person, there's a version of you that sees your entire life with this person. You've planned out everything together, okay? So the moment that breaks down, metaphorically, you have to kill that version of yourself. Right? So you're literally experiencing a death of a part of you. So to think that feelings are going to be suppressed, to think you're not going to have them, or you're just going to get through them, you're going to have to process this like you're killing yourself. Okay? And so understanding that you should be able to give yourself grace, comfort, intimacy through these times. So we see on all these different levels, if you have a job, because we have an ego, we attach our identity to a job. Like, what do you do, Dwayne? Oh, I work for this company. I'm this. Okay, who are you, Dwayne? Oh, I work for this company. I'm this. So if you lose that job, if you move on, there's a part of you that dies, right? So you have to kill that part of you, okay? So faith as the anchor in storms, the Bible verse, for we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7, right? Your sight will always lead to emotions everywhere. It will always lead to you making assumptions. It will always lead to you trying to put 2 and 2 together, and you end up with 87 sometimes, right? But your faith, can you hold on to your faith through this, right? And faith is a discipline. Faith is a muscle that you have to cultivate over time. Okay, true faith is standing firm even when emotions scream otherwise. Notice we're not saying anything about suppressing those emotions. nothing at all about suppressing them. Okay? But we stand firm in faith, irrespective of how we feel. So, reflection questions. Number one, how do you differentiate between what you feel and what you know to be true? And then number two, what habits can you build to strengthen your faith when emotions challenge it? Okay? How do you differentiate between what you feel and what you know to be true? Can you disassociate yourself from your feelings? Can you give yourself enough grace to experience your feelings? Understand that you are a human in this experience. Understand that your feelings are going to come, they're going to go, they're going to flow. Okay? But what you know to be true is that you have this desire in your heart for a reason. What you know to be true is that the Most High speaks to you through your desires, just like he spoke to Moses through the burning bush. Just like he spoke to the prophets in these different metaphorical ways. The Most High speaks to you through your desires. Okay? So you know this to be true. You know this to be true. Okay? But what you feel, the heart is deceitful. Who can trust it? That your feelings are deceitful. Your feelings will make you stop too soon. Your feelings will make you hold on too long. Okay? But your faith in what you want, this is what we have to work on. Okay, so what habits can you build to strengthen your faith when emotions challenge it? Okay, can you set up checkpoints throughout the day to take a second to reconnect with your body? Can you, I don't know, keep a card in your pocket that tells you that you are the sky and your feelings are emotions, right? You are the sky, your feelings are emotions, your feelings are fleeting, right? Can you do all those things? Can you read more stories about people in the past who have had faith? How do you cultivate your faith? What habits can you build to strengthen your faith? And this is going to be very personal to you. Very, very personal to you. Only you can decide what is going to strengthen your faith. Man, you have to do what works for you. So you got to get more in the scriptures. You got to get more in the other spiritual texts. Whatever you have to do, your faith, your perspective is going to be your superpower. This is how you cut through whatever bullshit is showing up in your life. Okay? So then anchoring yourself in faith. Number one, or A, practical steps to strengthen your faith. Okay? Daily scripture and affirmations. Right? Even Romans 12:2 says, renew your mind daily. Okay, surround yourself with faith-driven people. Iron sharpens iron. Prayer and meditation build intimacy with the Most High, allowing His truth to override fleeting emotions. Okay, next, choosing discipline over feelings. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want the most. What do you want now versus what do you want the most? Okay, faith requires action even when you don't feel like it. And so mastery over emotions leads to greater self-control and stability. And keep in mind, anytime I say mastery over emotions, I don't mean you walk around suppressing your damn emotions like a robot, like a psychopath. What I mean is that the perspective, the consciousness that you are behind that emotion is rooted in the Most High. It's rooted in the universe. I can feel sad, my faith is still there. I can be angry, my faith is still there. Things can look like they're falling apart. My faith is still there. Okay. And this requires practice. This requires you to constantly go into a place where you're cultivating that faith, cultivating that spiritual strength. All right. So what small habits can you implement today to build faith-driven discipline? And then how does your environment influence your ability to choose faith over feelings? Man, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, bro. It's all about letting go. It's all about letting go. It is all about surrendering, for sure, 100%, right? So what small habits can you implement today to build faith-driven discipline? Can you get to a point where you can begin to actually surrender, truly surrender how things lead up to your desires? Okay, I'm not saying you surrender your desire. I'm saying that you surrender how it unfolds. You think that you have step A, B, and C planned out. And really, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You're going to go through point A, point B, and C are going to be completely wiped out because the Most High is like, you know what? I got a better way. You need more money. You need more discipline. You need more relationships. You need more experience. You need all these things. So I'm going to take you down this different path that is going to expand you into who you need to be to get what you want. Now, what is your perspective going to be when you're going through that? Is your perspective going to be, shit, man, shit never works out? Or is your perspective going to be that the Most High has weapons I don't know about? The universe has weapons in ways that I cannot understand. The humanity of me cannot understand the ways that the Most High can allow things to unfold in my mind. Okay, so how does your environment influence your ability to choose faith over people? We have to be honest about the people that we are around. You're going to be a reflection of the 5 people you are closest to. Okay, with number 1 probably being your intimate relationship. Are you with somebody that speaks life into you? Do you speak life into them? Right? What about your friends? If you went to your friends right now and you told them you were starting a business, what would their response be? Do you have people in your life that challenge you to grow or to keep you back? Example, all right, let's say that you want to stop drinking. Would your friends try to still drag you to the bar? Like, come on, bro, 1 shot won't hurt. All right, come on, man. If you have a business, right, would your friends tell you where you can improve? Bro, you can be better in this area. This is what you could do to take your stuff to the next level. All right? And if y'all want to make money online, man, go and follow my dog Lambo Riches, man. One of the reasons why I really admire this dude, right, is because when I first met him in LA, I was doing videography at the time. And one of the first things he told me was like, you know what, if I was you and I was in this environment, I would be trying to connect with everybody around here, giving out business cards or trying to see if they need work, because people always need content. And I was like, oh shit, right. And so what kind of people are you around? Are you even vulnerable enough and open enough to take that kind of feedback from people? Are you able to take that kind of feedback from people, right? Cool. So what small habits, and then how does your environment? Now, faith in the face of adversity. So the testing of faith, all right? So Bible verse, consider it pure joy. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:2-3. Faith is refined in the fire of trials, while feelings seek comfort. Many great leaders endured hardship by holding on to faith rather than reacting emotionally. Your perspective through whatever you're going to go through is the elixir that builds your internal beauty. Internal beauty has to be earned. Okay, just like faith has to be earned. All of these qualities that we look up to in other people. Okay, we know that the most beautiful people that we'll ever meet, they've been through some shit. They have been through some things, and they did not allow life to break them. The people that have the biggest accomplishments that right? They were able to go through some things and not let those things break them. Right? Inner beauty is refined in fire, right? Faith is refined in fire, okay? Your feelings will always seek comfort. Your feelings will always try to push you towards what's familiar, what is predictable, even if it's not healthy for you. You know that you shouldn't go back to that woman. You know you shouldn't go back to that man, but your feelings will make you do otherwise. It will make you do the things that you know you should not be doing, right? Your feelings will make you step out on that good man, on that good woman, because it feels good in the moment. This other person's giving me a little bit more attention in the moment, right? Your feelings will always deny you, right? If you constantly follow your feelings, you will be alone. You'll be broke. You'll be miserable. You will not be able to achieve the things that you want. Right? You have to We have to take the righteous path, and we have to build our faithfulness along the way, okay? So many great leaders endured hardship by holding on to faith rather than reacting emotionally. So stories of resilience, right? Job's endurance, talked about Job a little earlier, right? So despite losing everything, he remained faithful. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years, okay? 27 years, and then came out and was able to be elected as South Africa's president. Interesting thing about Nelson Mandela is that he should have came out bitter as hell. He should have came out bitter as hell. All right? Bitter as hell. But he didn't. Okay? He came out and still followed purpose. Okay? Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor. They took his family, everybody he knew, and the interesting thing about him, so it says survive the Holocaust by holding on to purpose rather than emotions. But one of the more beautiful things about Viktor Frankl was that if you really read his story and you listen to him, he will speak about the beauty of, okay, no matter what's going on in your life, how life is crumbling, you can change your perspective to look at, to still find the beauty in the world. So let's say that right now you're in a bad situation monetarily and you're trying to make ends meet. You have this vision of abundance. Your business is not going as planned, right? Can you still find beauty in things like the sunset, in a fresh air, and being able to go hug your mother and being able to take her out to breakfast, right? Of being able to take a walk in the middle of the day? Can you still find moments of beauty within your life to be grateful for, to show gratitude for, right? And then continue to walk down the righteous path. We as humans have to constantly fight this urge. We all have a tendency that when we don't believe that things are going exactly as we plan, we tend to overly obsess on what we want at the expense of having gratitude for what we have. Understanding that everything that we have right now was once just a thought in our mind, was once a desire. Hey, the friends you have, the friendships you have were desires. The computer that you're on was a desire. Even the phone that you have was just a desire. You walked in the store, wanted it, and got it. Everything that you have, the place you live, the car you drive, at one point, these things were desires. And when we get these things, we tend to just put them away and then focus on the next thing. And so, of course, social media has something to do with it, but we also have to take accountability for our own lives and learn presence, practice gratitude, okay? We can talk about the heart center being open, and we need gratitude to attract different things in our life, okay? But can you find moments throughout the day to exercise gratitude about? Okay. Oh, that's exactly right. Even the story of Joseph being sold by his damn brothers. That shit is wild. Okay. So, reflection questions. How do you usually respond to adversity? Through faith or feelings? And then what lesson can you take from historical or biblical figures who chose faith in trials? We can look through history. And, I use a couple examples, and I try to throw some out randomly. But we can literally go through history and see time after time after time people that have went through difficult situations. If you go read a biography of a CEO, typically you read their biography, and it's like, man, I had 2 divorces. I went broke a couple times. Companies went bankrupt. People stole this company and this idea. But boom, all of a sudden now I'm making it, and I have the woman of my dreams, and I have the life that I wanted. And it required faith. But all those things that I went through built me into the person to actually stand in the blessings. You can't stand in the blessings without being built into the right person. Okay. And so even what you'll see is once you get something that you want, you can't look back and hate the things that you've went through. I love where I am. I love the things that I have right now. Everything that happened to me, all those things are part of my story. They're part of who I am. So how could I look back and hate anything that I've went through? Because without those things, how would my story change? Who would I be right now? Okay, this is the same way that one day you're going to be laying with your husband or laying with your wife, right? You're going to be talking to her and you're going to say, man, thank God I went through some of the situations I went through with past people because, it gave me the skills to deal with you. Right now I can love you better. I can treat you better. And I appreciate you more. And I wouldn't have had that if I didn't go through those past situations, right? I'm grateful for those things. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? But right now, when you're trying to work to those things, we have a tendency to look back and be negative about certain experiences, negative about experiences that we're in right now. But really, these things are shaping you. These are part of your story. And one day you're going to look back at them with gratitude. Now, the beautiful thing, one of the interesting things, if you really study your life, is that time tends to be the ultimate transmuter of perspective, right? All of a sudden, naturally, it's as if time passes by and then you find that right person and now you look back with gratitude. Now, you can look back with gratitude in the moment that you're in right now, if you keep the perspective that everything is working out for you, right? That everything is working out for you. I was trying to keep this real PG, okay? So living a life of conviction over emotion. So let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. Okay? Let us hold unswervingly. We don't swerve. Stay on your pivot, right? Stay on your pivot, for he who promised is faithful. Okay? Hebrews 10:23, power comes from making faith-based. Okay, let's get this puzzle piece in here. All right. Power comes from making faith-based choices daily. I should have said moment by moment. All right. Power comes from making faith-based choices moment by moment. Your faith will always be tested. I mean, the same way that we talked about the story of Job, right? Where Job said, well, everything is going well or the devil said everything is going well for Job. Anybody can be faithful then. So strip it away from him. Okay? So that is going to be your brain. That is the devil within your mind that is telling you, shit is not finna work. All right? Everything is going right now. Right? Like, are you still going to be faithful? Are you sure? Look around you. Nothing's changed. You've been walking with all this faith. You've been saying these affirmations in the morning. Aren't you tired today? Don't you just want to go back to the old way of doing things? Come on, man. Just go back. You're going to have to come up against yourself over and over and over again until you win that battle, right? And the thing is that people are like, okay, how long do I have to do that? Until you get what you want. That's how long you have to do it. What's the alternative? The alternative is that you go back to the life that you don't want. You go back to dating the same type of people that are just lessons for you. You go back to the same job that you don't like. You go back to the same type of friendships, the same type of situations, the same lifestyle. Or you go against yourself every day and you realize it's just me versus me. It's just me versus me. Make the decision to not go back. Once you make that decision and you change your perspective and you begin to walk through life like you know who you are, the God within you knows that everything is for a reason. The God within you knows that everything is purposeful. This is all meant to help you. This is all just a reflection of you anyway. The God within you knows that, we are attracting every single soul in this universe for you specifically to lead you down the right path. So this person has no choice but to say no. This person literally had no choice but to break your heart because you had to learn a lesson. They had no choice but to do that. Now, you can dwell on it. You can start taking it too personally. You can fall into the victim mindset. You cannot grow from it. You can stay the same. You can stay on the same vibration. So you can attract the same shit. You can live in a time loop for the rest of your life if you want. And God will still love you and still try to help you and throw you different people, right? Or your perspective can be, it's all for me. The guy with them, he's not bitter. The guy with them, he's not, jealous. The guy with them, he's not walking around resentful. The guy with him, he's always looking for self-improvement. Because even if I self-improve, let's say that you really miss somebody, even if you self-improve, one of two things are going to happen. One of two things happen if you self-improve. You increase your frequency. You end up on a different vibrational reality, and you attract them again, and they're on a different vibrational reality. You attract them again, and they're still on the lower vibrational reality. So you say, okay, this is not for me anymore. You move on, or you receive somebody better that's in alignment with you. I mean, this is the only things that can happen, right? Let's not overcomplicate this. Okay, if you increase your vibration by learning the lessons that you are supposed to learn, then better things come into your life. But if you stay the same, if you do not learn your lessons, right, you stay on the same vibration, you have no choice but to attract the same people. This is like, think about most people's life. The same type of jobs or the same job over and over again. They date the same type of woman or the same type of man over and over again. They do the same things on weekends over and over again. Their life is literally an example of I don't learn lessons. This is the example of their life. So anytime that we see patterns in our life, the same way that you spot a car with a 333 license plate and you're like, oh shit, synchronicity, is the same way that you should look for patterns in your life. Oh shit, this has happened to me multiple times. I continuously get triggered by this. What do I need to work on? I continuously date people like this. What do I need to work on? I continuously end up in jobs like this. What do I need to work on? I continuously end up in this financial situation. What do I need to work on? You will look at the patterns in all these other things. And you will say, oh, God works in patterns. The universe is fractal. The universe is divine and orderly, and it always gives you the insight through patterns and numbers. Look at your life. You've seen 333 3 times, but you ain't seen the 3 cheaters that you keep choosing 3 times. You haven't seen the 3 ways that you have no emotional vulnerability, no emotional control 3 times. All these things are trying to teach you a lesson. So once you step into the game of life and you understand, this is for me. Oh, this is a construct for me. There has to be purpose behind this, unless you believe that God is not purposeful. Unless you believe that the Most High is accidental, which you have a right to believe, get me wrong, right? But if you believe that, it's no wonder why you stay in the same situations over and over again. So your perspective is going to be your superpower. It's all for me. I have a desire, so everything has to be pushing me closer to that desire. So, okay, cool. All right. And then even when I get on new levels, what do you realize? When you get on new levels, you start to get new problems. And these new quote unquote problems or soul expanding opportunities are prepping you for the next level. So you might be stressed right now because it's like, oh shit, well, I need to, just say you're starting your business. You're trying to figure out all these things about starting your LLC and taxes and, how do I, set up this trust and all these things. Sure, those might be problems right now, but on the next level, it's going to be managing employees. Different types of problems for different levels, right? So all these things are pushing you into different versions of yourself. Every opportunity is just a stepping stone. Everything is a stepping stone. Okay? And everything gives you clarity. Everything gives you knowledge, right? Think about your last relationship. I don't care how bad it went. What was the lesson? Have you learned the lesson? I'm not talking about the surface level lesson of, oh, I just need to pick better. Because that's a lesson that we all can take, no matter what, right? But that's the bare minimum. Okay? But why are you choosing people like this? What is it about your standards? Are you sleeping with people too fast? Okay, do you struggle to connect emotionally? Do you? Like, how are you at communicating your emotions? What is vulnerability like to me? How do you handle conflict, right? Is conflict truly a way for y'all to deepen the connection? Or is conflict just a way for you to vent and get some shit off your chest? What is your purpose? How do you define emotional intelligence? Right? When they do something that you don't like, oh, I'm just gonna tell it how it is, huh? How far has that gotten you? right? So we always have lessons and things that we can learn to step into a better version of ourselves. Now, are we going to learn the lessons, or do we ignore them? Do we say all men ain't shit? We say all women ain't shit. And so as a byproduct of staying in that same vibration, we just have to attract more people that are the same so they can show us different lessons. Don't get me wrong. They'll show up in fun ways. This person will have a great first impression. They'll have a great first impression. They'll show up in your life, break you down. You'll be like, oh man, they lied. No, they were trying to pour into you in a way that you've never poured into yourself. They were trying to show you something about yourself that you need to work on. All right? So it's always about us. We're always the main character. We're always the main character. You're never a supporting character, okay? You are the main character in your life. And then, even as a side note, I didn't want to get too far in relationships, but it's so relatable. Right? It's something we can all relate to. The side character syndrome. Okay, are you the main character in your own story? Most of the times, or a lot of times, when people go through hurt, we can put that other person on a pedestal and start constantly thinking about, how did they hurt me? Man, I wish I had done this for them. I did all of this and they still acted like that, right? We can put this person on a pedestal and internalize it so much that we stop being the main character in our own story. And shit, I was guilty of this when I was younger, right? You would go through life and you might even explain some of the things that you've been through, because it's like, bruh, if you can understand what I've been through, then you can understand me. So I'm defining myself through the lens of what I've been through. I'm defining myself through my pain. Okay? And that's one of the traps. Please don't get all mad when I say it's one of the traps of therapy, right? Is a lot of people come out of therapy with just a bunch of excuses for what they did. It's like, oh, well, now I know that I'm like this because of this, but are you going to change it? It gets to a point where when we meet people, and let's look at this objectively. If you meet somebody and they tell you that they are away because of what they've been through, okay? And the way that they are isn't conducive to a healthy relationship, in your opinion, are you going to say, oh, okay, well, since you have a good excuse, I'll let it go. Since you have an excuse, I'll just work through it. And then I'll try my hardest to validate you even more, right? Because you can't give me what I need, I'm going to pour more into you so I can buy your love and validation. I want you to think about how crazy that sounds. But we typically don't hold ourselves to the same standard as we would hold other people. We say, oh, I've been through this, so I need somebody who shows up in this deeper way for me. I need somebody who goes out of their way to prove this to me. Now, you might even think that makes sense in a physical reality, because this is how they get you, right? They teach you things they push you things from a physical perspective without talking about the spiritual undertone. So let's say that I've been through my shit, I've been through therapy, and the therapist is like, oh, you're this way. And I'm like, oh, yes, you're right. So I just have to be more cautious, and I will not open up until somebody proves to me that they're right. I'm not going to be good until this person proves to me that they're right. What you're signaling vibrationally, because that makes sense physically. Let's say it makes sense physically. I don't think it does. Let's say it does. What you are signaling vibrationally, because the universe reads vibration. This is a law. This is a balanced universe that we live in. The law of the universe is not partial. It's not jealous. It's not mean. It's fair. Okay, it gives you what you put out. So when you say, oh, I can't give everything until somebody gives me everything, the universe says, oh, shit. What that means is that you have a void within you. And because you have a void within you, we're going to match it outside of you. So now you're going to attract somebody that maybe they're really good at bombing, that love bomb technique, right? Maybe they're really good at showing you this thing up front, but then they pull away. So now you're even worse off. So the lesson that you have to learn here is, oh shit, I have to be whole. Because if I'm whole, I can show up whole, right? And then I can actually match with somebody else that is whole, right? They were giving me all this love that I should have been giving myself. And so your soul is like, all right, look, we need to spend some time alone. I need you to give yourself intimacy. So let's attract somebody that's going to show you what that's like. So somebody comes in, first impression off the chain. First impression off the chain, right? They give you all the validation that you wanted up front, the validation that you should be giving yourself. And your soul's like, all right, finally, now they will sit by themselves. Now they will actually enjoy their own company, right? Now they will provide themselves with the intimacy that they deserve, okay? But what do you do instead? You go out and you try to sleep with somebody else to get over, all right? So your soul has to keep attracting these people because the intimacy that you're desiring in other people is just you desire intimacy with the Most High, with yourself, with your soul, right? But because you can't sit alone, it's going to manifest as all these people coming into your life to push you on a journey to be alone. And then you end up thinking, why are all these men the same? All these women ain't shit. Well, this is a game for you. But once you understand the spiritual laws and the spiritual rules of the world, now you can navigate better, right? You always have to look at the spiritual laws, the universal laws, and do these actually mesh with what the world is preaching? Somebody can come out there and tell you to walk around guarded, tell you that you shouldn't give these things until you meet the right person. I'm here to tell you that if you want to be a husband, if you want to be a wife, that is who you are. That has to be who you are. Now, if you come into my life and you don't appreciate that, or we're not in alignment, then okay, then I reject that. Right? But it's not going to change who I am. And so now you're actually a vibrational match for the things that you want. And every time you're denying something that's not in alignment with what you want, you're sending another wave out to the universe and saying, this is who I am. And so all the other things that aren't in alignment with that, they start to fall away from your life. So you're wondering why all of a sudden certain friends are falling off. They can't stand you. They're just, for some reason, they can't stand you. Right? You wonder why other people fall apart. This is divine protection. This is because your vibration is protecting you. Your vibration becomes this shield that you walk through life. It defends you in this beautiful way in rooms that you're not even in. But when you lower your frequency for the world, I'm gonna be a shell of myself, a guarded, half-assed version of myself. You don't even know who you are when you start acting like that. Because God wouldn't act like that. If you believe that God is within you, why are you acting like that? It's because you don't know who you are. And unfortunately, so much of the programming of the world is meant to pull you away from that internal God of yourself, right? That we have just people just walking around lost, saying things that might make sense they might make sense physically from a hurt perspective, but they don't make sense. When I think about who I am, the God within me wouldn't walk around like that. Bitter, mean, a half-assed version of myself, unauthentic. No. What? So why would I? Okay? And so once you start to embody this, now you can get the things that you want. Life can get much more beautiful for you. Okay? But, all right, back to what I was saying, though. We have to understand things on multiple perspectives. This is why balance is so important, bro. We have to be balanced gods, balanced goddesses. My brothers and sisters, you have to be balanced. Because if you're just moving off of physical reality, you're always going to be lost in your feelings, emotional all the time. Everything's going to be distracting you. It's going to be leading you astray. If you're only focused on spiritual perspective, good luck keeping a relationship. Good luck, right? So we always have to take the path of balance. The path of balance. Okay, so back to faith. So B, the rewards of faith over feelings. So, quote, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Martin Luther King Jr. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Choosing faith leads to long-term fulfillment, while following feelings often leads to regret. When faith leads, peace and purpose follow. Okay? So your feelings will always have you crazy, right? Your body just wants to feel something. You can almost think of your body like a little addict, right? It always wants a hit of that dopamine. It always wants some feeling. Even when you sit in meditation, what most people say when they first start meditating is it's very difficult to get over yourself. The first thing you realize is you have a lot of thoughts that are coming from all over the place. You know, you start sitting in meditation, all of a sudden the song lyric that you were listening to last night in the club, it's playing over and over in your head, right? Like, damn, did I turn off the oven? Damn, I'm kind of hungry. I want to get up now. Dang, I should text that old girl back. Right? You start having all of these thoughts. Where are they coming? They're just coming from all over the place. You start thinking of memes that you saw on social media. Okay? So, peace and purpose, right? We have to get to a point where we can sit in our feelings. And the longer you sit in your feelings, when you're able to sit through your feelings, let's put it like this. When you're actually able to take a moment and be silent and sit within your feelings, you will realize how fleeting they are. Even the ecstatic happiness fades away, right? It turns into this blissful peace. But then also even the sadness fades away. It turns into this blissful peace, right? So behind all of your emotions, you're still there. You're not your emotions at all. You're not happiness. You're not sadness. You're none of those. Your body experiences those from time to time because that's the human part of you. But that's not who you are. You are just the consciousness behind all those things. If you were stripped out of your body right now and you were just the consciousness, those emotions, you wouldn't feel them. You would just feel the pure bliss and peace. And you can access those things. You just have to get beyond your feelings, okay? So what is one area in your life where you need to let faith lead over feelings? Just one area, okay? Is it your finances? Is it your relationships? So yesterday we also talked about balance, right? We talked about how we want it all. How I give you these lectures because you don't just want abundance in one area of your life. You want abundance in all areas, right? You want abundant, fulfilling relationships. You want a healthy body, right? You want abundant bank accounts. Okay? You want abundant friendships, abundant life experiences, an abundant relationship with your parents, with your children. You want all these things, right? So we need to be balanced, meaning we need to exercise faith in all these areas. And we need to be cultivating our growth in all of these areas. Okay? What good is, $1 million if you're lonely and out of shape and in poor health and all of your money is going to try to get you more healthy? What is good relationships or a happy marriage if y'all are struggling financially and you're out of shape and your health is deteriorating and you can't even spend all the time that you want with this person? You can't even experience life with this person, right? We want it all. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? So we want balance, okay? So the same way that we have to look at balance is multidimensional. The same way that we look at balance in our physical reality, we want to be balanced in our spiritual walk. We want to understand what spiritual laws are guiding this reality, okay? We want to understand how our faith impacts the world, okay? We want to understand what is going on in the physical reality and where some of the traps are going to be. Okay, we want to understand all of these things. Okay, all of these things. Okay, so then number 2, how will you hold yourself accountable to making faith-driven decisions? And like I was saying earlier, this decision is up to you. Whether you want to keep a card in your pocket, whether you want to set up an alarm with checkpoints throughout the day, whether you want to get deeper into your word, into the Bible, into scripture, into whatever, right? How can you hold yourself accountable to making faith-based decisions? Okay? So in conclusion, faith is a commitment. It's a commitment, not a feeling. Just because your faith is strong does not mean you'll always be happy. Does not mean you'll never be sad. Okay? Feelings fluctuate, but faith stands firm. Faith is just that underlying knowing. Here's a good example, okay? If I truly believe that I'm that guy, Right? If I believe, like, okay, I'm that guy, right? And more often than not, if I talk to a woman, she'll be attractive. We have a conversation. If I truly believe that, then I'm gonna walk through life, and there are certain people that are gonna tell me no. There are certain people that are gonna say yes. Now, does that change how I really feel about myself, right? If you believe that you are the greatest athlete of all time, let's say you Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods, whoever you believe is the greatest, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Does that mean that every time that you take a last second shot or a buzzer beater, you're gonna make every one? And if you miss one, does that mean you're not the greatest anymore, right? So through life, things fluctuate. Life is gonna give you bad hands, right? Life is gonna give you opportunities to allow your body to feel sadness, allow your body to feel happiness, but who you are remains constant. The fact that you have received this divine desire mentally, okay? And now you can walk in that divine desire, okay? This should never fade. God put this desire in my heart for a reason, to improve my family, to improve my marriage, to improve my living situation, whatever the case may be. Can you walk in that faith and understand that your feelings are going to fluctuate? But throughout my feelings fluctuating because things aren't going as planned, maybe my plan is just absolutely turning to dog shit. Right? It's absolutely collapsing around me. Do I hold steady on that perspective that everything's happened for me? My plan is just being rearranged. Okay. The perspective that always helps me, that I constantly preach, is that your plan is meaningless to God. The universe looks at your plan and says, wow, that's cute. That's cute for a human, right? But I'm going to do you one better because you don't need to go here. We're going to take a different route here. There's going to be people that you need to help along the way. You're actually going to meet this other person who's working the same path as you. You're going to meet them at exactly the right time. It's going to feel like coincidence, but I'm going to make it feel that way so you know that it comes from me. And then y'all are going to click up. Y'all are going to start a different business. And this one, I'm going to fail it. I'm going to make it fall. But you're going to learn lessons that are going to help you in that other business, right? Now, if you are someone that only focuses on your feelings and doesn't live rooted in faith, shit, you probably quit. You will probably quit on that path, okay? But your faith is your superpower. Your perspective that everything is happening for me is a superpower. Your ability to keep moving, no matter how you feel, that is your superpower. And so when you embrace this becomes the weapon that cuts through life, right? Your plan is just a vehicle for God's will. Your plan is just a vehicle for the universe to flow through. That's it. That is it. Your plan is not definite. Your plan means nothing. You making a plan. No matter what you could take a year to make a plan. You could take a day to make the plan. It's the same thing to the Most High. The Most High is going to say, as long as you're making a plan, I'm going to lead you to where you need to be. Your plan is meaningless. Don't get too caught up in it. Do it to the best of your ability and then move forward, knowing that whatever happens, I'm going to have to adjust. And I'm going to adjust. I'm going to know what to do at the right moment to do it. Sometimes life is seasonal as well. There's going to be times where you have no fucking idea what to do next. And you're in that void, that consciousness expanding void. And the only reason that you're in that void is because things are working out for you that you can't control right now. You have to sit still because the world has to catch up. Sometimes before that big goal gets here, the Most High says, you know what? I'm about to bless you with all this money that you're going to have to spend. Let me give you a little bit of rest. Sit down and rest for a little bit. And so there's absolutely nothing that you can do. So you're working on yourself. You're still going to the gym. You're still eating right. You're still studying and focusing, and right. But there's nothing you can do. You're in the void. Now, are you going to go back to how you used to be? Or are you going to stay the course? And if you can stay the course, that is where that blessing is, man. That is where that blessing is. Okay? Stay faithful, man. Understand that you have everything that you need within you. You have everything that you need within you. Your faith is what waters the seed of your desire. Okay? Your mind is what draws this to you. Okay? And then your perspective is what cuts through reality. It is what cuts through reality. I'm so faithful. I love to hear that, man. There's nothing that makes me happier than hearing that. So in every decision, we must ask ourselves, okay, am I choosing faith or am I following fleeting emotions? The strength of a man lies not in how he feels, but in what he believes and acts upon. Your strength, your desires, the things that you want, people will try to lie to you and say it's always about how you feel. Happy and no, it's not. It is about your faithfulness. It's about how you feel about your faithfulness towards the desire. That is what matters. That is what feeling is, right? You're feeling happiness doesn't matter, right? You could literally accidentally be happy just by driving out and getting into the sunlight, right? You could go out into your car right now and just be sad. Somebody could call you with some terrible news and it could ruin your day. The rest of your day could be gone, okay? But you have to understand, you have to understand, you have to know that everything is working out for you, okay? Everything is working out for you. All right, y'all, I appreciate y'all's time. Let me see how long I got. I had to leave for the airport in like 30 minutes. So let's do Q&A, then we'll end it with a prayer, per usual, and then we'll go from there, man. So anything else y'all want to talk about? Maybe I should scroll up. Let me scroll up. Yeah, I post all the lives on YouTube. All the lives are on YouTube. All the documents that I shared, they're all on YouTube as well. So they're the same name, Alexander Dwayne, or the link is in the bio. Everything is working out for you. Better than you even understand, better than you can imagine. Right? Life is always working out for us more beautifully. Like what we think is our desire is really just a floor, right? Like your higher self sees what you want and says, you know what, that's really the lowest that we can go, okay? The way that you want it to unfold, it's just one way, but we can make it unfold in much more divine, beautiful ways, right? Much more divine, beautiful ways. Yeah. I had so many jobs and couldn't figure out what to do. I already know what you're about to say. All those jobs prepared you for what you actually needed to do. Isn't it divine how that works, right? Beautiful how that works. Right? We are out here just going through situations, and hindsight is 2020. You're going through these situations, you're going through these relationships, you're going through these jobs, these experiences, and what they're doing is they're just all molding you. These are consciousness expanding, soul expanding times in your life. Okay? That void is so consciousness expanding. Right? It's so divine. Right? But it's all about our perspective. We keep our perspective and we have that inner knowing that everything is working out for us. Well, so it is. It is. Your faith activates the Most High, right? So the way that I understand the Most High, right? The way that I experience the Most High, this is more download than anything, is everything around you is the Most High is flowing through everything around you that you can see and can't see, right? So we can only see 0.00001% of matter. Okay, the rest of it is just energy, it's empty space. So even what we are seeing right now is just a fraction, less than a fraction of what is actually going on. But you can think of the Most High as this infinite energy that's around you, it's hugging you, it's flowing through you, flowing through everything, right? It's just literally every space is compact with the Most High. And it's always watching you. It's the ultimate observer, sees all, feels all, hears all, knows all, okay? Now, what activates the Most High through you, what activates this universal, infinite consciousness within you is your faith. It's your perspective, really. Perspective and faith, I really use those interchangeably. Okay. So if my perspective is that everything is working out for me, that the Most High has my back, now boom, I become this open vessel that the Most High can flow through. And not only does the Most High flow directly through me, but the Most High flows through everything. It flows through every job that I encounter, every person that I encounter. Every time you get into the car, the Most High is there. Every single experience, every single step, every single moment is coded with the Most High. Okay? So now everything truly becomes how can the universe actually give you exactly what you want in the best way and make you who you need to be to receive it. Okay? But even if you don't have faith and you remove that perspective, all right, well, God will still watch you. And you can struggle with lessons, right? God will still watch you. God will still send you everything that you need, right? But this is the unconditional love of the Most High. The unconditional love is so brilliant that even if you want to do it alone, I'll let you. Even though I know that I can do this better for you, I'll let you do it alone. Okay? I will let you do it alone. Putting in that 2 weeks notice, that's always a good feeling. I love 2 weeks notices, even though I've only given them one. Like my first job, then I stopped doing it, which is not a good thing. But actually the last job so before I left corporate, I was going to stop working at the end of the year. It was a couple of years ago. I had made up my mind, okay, December 31st, I'm gonna stop. And they end up having mass layoffs. And the moment that I made that decision, they end up having mass layoffs, and they had a severance that they were giving out. And so it just came at this divine timing. I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. So I just wrote it out to the last day, was working on my own thing, and then just got up out of there. But here, the interesting thing is that if a company wants to get rid of you, they can get rid of you on the spot, on the day. I had a company once just get rid of me, like on a random ass Wednesday. I had a one-on-one with my supervisor at the time, and shit, he invited HR, and I was like, man, why the hell is he inviting HR to this? And so I walked in there, and they were like, well, this is your last day. We're no longer moving forward. Please turn in your laptop. I was like, damn, these motherfuckers are cold, right? I can't even get a week's notice. But interesting thing, though, is after that, they ended up hitting me up and trying to offer me money to help them out for a little bit longer, which I didn't take it. I actually wrote back and asked them for a whole bunch more, and then they responded again and tried to negotiate, and I just stopped. Hell no, they won't give you a 2 weeks notice. That's a fact. I worked this shift and got fired in the middle of my day off. How you got fired on your day off? Y'all out here wilding. Wait, I mean, that's the nature of it, right? Like, that's the business. You literally can get chopped anytime. Anytime you can get chopped. Like, well, we weren't going to fire you yet, but since you're here, since you're here, we're going to get rid of you. Yeah. Job offers are energetic, right? When you change your energy, you can get them. Really, your entire reality is built on your beliefs. It is built on your beliefs. So, like, if you believe they're hard to get, they are. This is why you have to be very mindful of what you read, right? Because a lot of people are talking about how brutal the job market is right now. But if that is your belief, that is what it's going to manifest. But if you change that belief, then you change your ability to actually receive things. It's all within you, right? Everything is within us. Either we go deeper. One thing that I constantly tell people is like, look, even if you get, it's all within us, right? Everything is always our fault. Yeah, believe opportunities definitely always come. Change your beliefs, right? So even when people are talking about manifesting specific people, I'm always like, bro, it's not about that person. It's about how you relate to yourself. And it's about how you believe that person relates to you, which is really just how you relate to yourself. Okay. Do you believe that you're the type of man that gets cheated on? Do you believe you're the type of woman that gets cheated on? Gets left, right? Do you believe that your first impression is just cold and people fall in love with you quick? Do you believe that love takes a long time? All these things are self-belief. And the more we really study our self-belief, we'll say, oh shit, the world does conform to my self-belief. We tend to think that our self-beliefs happen after certain events, but something happened, okay, because we were lazy with our thoughts. And then we created a self-belief. And then all of a sudden the world starts to confirm and prove that that self-belief is correct. That is really how self-beliefs have power. And then the more that the world confirms it to you, the more difficult it is to step out of that self-belief, right? So, let me see that. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time today. Let's end this with a prayer as always. And I will let y'all go. I probably won't go live again until maybe Monday or maybe Sunday night. I get back Sunday night. But I'll be in Atlanta. If anybody got any good spots in Atlanta, shit, let your boy know. Let your boy know. Okay? Would I say that we can/do self-actualize? Yes, for sure. Yes, everything. Cool. All right, y'all. All right, let's get into this so I don't miss this flight, even though the airport is right there. All right. All right, Heavenly Father, thank you for speaking to us through our desires. Thank you for constantly watching and loving us and flowing through us. We understand that everything that we come across, everything that is presented to us in this life is meant to push us into a better, more expanded, more divine, more beautiful version of ourselves. Right? In a time where a lot of people are being tricked into being a lesser version of ourselves or a lesser version of themselves, I pray that you continue to push us into the best and more beautiful version of ourselves that's in alignment with the things that we want. I pray for anyone that's going through heartbreak, that's going through any troubling time, that they receive the peace that only you can provide, and they also understand that that peace is within them. Okay? Continue to walk by us, walk with us, day by day, moment by moment, and continue to show us that you are present and loving. Cool. All right, y'all. I see you all as beautiful, as divine, as perfect, as whole, as loved, as prosperous, as rich, as wealthy, as all the things that you desire, right? If you do not feel that way, it's cool, because I see you as that way anyway, so I know that it must be true. Remember that your perspective, your perception is your weapon. It is your weapon. It is how you can paint over this reality, right? Everything is happening for you. Nothing is happening to you, right? I will see y'all the next time, God willing, and y'all have a beautiful, blessed, and safe weekend. And I appreciate all of y'all tremendously. Later.
Damn, let me put this on there. That's fire. Wow. Wow. Wow.